Assalamu alaikum. Wanakkam Aibuwan. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, respected religious leaders, with your permission. If I may say, my life has been made easy by the previous speaker, Admiral Sarath Veerasekara, giving a very good insight into the constitutional analysis of the danger that we are facing. We all know that my entire lifetime I spent in a war-ridden country. Whereas as a legal practitioner today, I can go to Jaffna, I can go to Betiklo, I can go to Trinco, I can go to Kilinochchi, I can go to Mullatif, I can go to Mena. Peacefully I can go there and practice my profession. The freedom of movement has been made so easy for us in this country, not because of anything else, that we have defeated a terrorism that was in this country. And by that way, I would say our lives in this country, being Muslims, Tamils and Sinhalese, have been made easy. Our lifetimes have become easy because of getting rid of this terrorism in this country. So therefore, I must also thank Rear Admiral as well as the leadership given by none other than the former Defence Secretary who is here with us, that all of us in this country, including the Muslims and the Tamils, have to be grateful to this peaceful environment that we are enjoying in this country today. I must say, the Muslim politicians out there, in the coming voting of the constitutional bill in the parliament, unlike the provincial council amendment bill you supported, you should not support it, because this is a constitution which is moving forward for a separatist country in this wonderful nation that we have lived. And we should be grateful for the peaceful environment that we are enjoying today. Therefore, the Muslim politicians out there in the parliament, whoever the parliamentarians are, you have a duty and you should be gratitude to this country which you are living peacefully for centuries. And we as a community should stand together for that. As you know, this whole humanitarian operation started in Mawil Naru when the Sarawak was blocked by the LTT. Who were the people immediately suffered? The people in Mutur and elsewhere. The Muslim agrarian, the farmers, they didn't have water. So the forces started the humanitarian operation there against a terrorist group. They are not the representatives of the Tamil people. They are a terrorist group financed by the West. And the politicians under them survived because they were part of the separatist movement. People like Alfred Durayappa, the mayor of Jaffna, was assassinated, killed in Jaffna. Then statesmen like Lakshman Khadirgama was murdered, brutally assassinated. So they were representing in this country not the true Sri Lankan identities of the people who wanted a Sri Lankan nation to prosper, but they wanted to ruin this country with the terrorism and separatism. What is happening today in the proposals of the constitution today? Now this is all brought in the guise of transitional justice in this country by the UN and other agencies who are forgetting for a moment the forces in this country fought a brutal war against terrorism, and it was a humanitarian operation to liberate this country, ensure the people's freedom and a peaceful environment in this country. Now, there are suggestions for a hybrid court. There are suggestions for creating a separatist state in this country. And through this new constitution, as if they are providing relief for the people, I would say, my fellow speaker this evening, Mr. Thambi Muthu, who is to speak after me, he's a Tamil gentleman who's a proud Sri Lankan in this country, whose father was a parliamentarian. He was assassinated by the brutal LTT killing, and his mother along with him. So he has to lose his both parents at the age of 14. And these are not anyone else. These are Tamil people who suffered these atrocities of the LTT. So therefore, he is standing with us this evening to speak on behalf of the Tamil people who have suffered all along their lifetime. The entire childhood of his peers was spent under fear, under no security. And the child soldiers who were recruited by the LTT have suffered their childhood. Now the international community, in the guise of transitional justice, coming to this country, is seeking solutions which are a separatist solution through the constitution. Therefore, I would request the politicians who represent the Tamil people as well as the Muslim people who are representing the parliament to vote against the separatist constitution. And it is a duty on them because under the LTT separatist period, they suffered, their people, their constituencies have suffered a lot, whoever is from the north and the east. And I would say, and you should also bear in mind, the majority of the Tamil people as well as the Muslim people are not living in the north and east, they are living in the south. They have coexisted in the south. Therefore, don't put the people in the south who are Tamils and Muslims who are peacefully coexisting with the Sinhalese people for centuries in this country into danger. If they are asking for a separate state in the north, merging the north and the east together, that is 5 districts, administrative districts out of the 25 administrative districts we have, into a separate state. I would say it is a separate for no other reasons. Rear Admiral gave a very nice explanation why it is a separate state. And I would add some more examples why it is a separate state. Now see, they have in their proposals presented that if a subject has been devolved to the province and it falls under the provincial list where there is no concurrent list, any the line minister, that means the central minister, will have no power to act on that subject. And the parliament will have no power to enact laws in that subject. So what more example you want that will not be a separate state? And in recent times that we had a case in the Supreme Court, the 6th Amendment case. In the 6th Amendment case, there is an interpretation that federalism is not separatism. But bear in mind, federalism or a sub-autonomic state or a province within this country is the first step towards separatism. Why we need a separate state in this country? Now, there is a greater confusion among the legal theorists who are parting with the trans-justice process in this country, that the minority rights and transitional justice or the self-determination right, there is a greater confusion. The minority rights are different from self-determination. Self-determination started in the Europe, where there were monarchs, where there were people who wanted separate states for greater freedom. In this country today we have the freedom which was not there for last 30 years, all thanks to His Excellency former President Mahinda Rajapaksa as well as Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Defence Secretary, and along with all the forces who fought for this. Therefore, there is no reason whatsoever that we should go back to the 30 years where, we will be, into another conflict in this country. There is no reason whatsoever. So therefore, I urge on the Muslim politicians as well as the Tamil parliamentarians to defeat this constitution as a duty on them. And I would also say that the recent judgment on the 6th Amendment case is leading to a notion that there is a separate people in this country and they have the right to self-determination. I'm not a person against the Tamil people enjoying the best of freedoms as well as the Muslims and any other people in this country, but it shouldn't be a politicized and a galvanized, in disguise you bring this all for a different state within this country. As you all recall, in 2003, the Sri Lankan government then went on to sign ISGA, Internal Self-Governing Authority, which is nothing other than a separate state. that they could not do it because there was a government change. And they could not do it because the forces took control of this country and ensured the freedom to all the people. They could not do it then. Now they are trying to do it through a constitutional reform. So should we allow this constitutional reform to form a separate state within our country? And I would say the legislature, the parliament, or the Supreme Court should not allow this, a separate state. Federalism, they give various interpretations, and they say it is not federal, though it is not federal. They say it is unitary, but though it is federal. And we are also not hanging on to that word federal or unitary, but all we want is one state and one people. And any judgment or any foreign intervention to say there are separate people, no. We are one people in this country, and we should hold that proud Sri Lankan identity, and here as well as abroad. I recalled one of the instances, a similar instance in 1945, when the independence talks began. The Dominion Bill was presented to the Sri Lankan State Council, presented by S.W.R. Bandaranaike, the former Prime Minister of the country. He presented the Dominion Bill, the Sri Lanka Dominion Bill. Then the British placed a condition. If this bill to be passed, you need to have 3/3 majority in the State Council. How to get this 3/4 majority? I'm sorry, 3/4 majority in the Parliament. How to get the 3/4 majority in the Parliament? They thought the 3 Muslim MPs, or the State Councilmen, who were Dr. T.B. Jaya, Sir Rashid Farid, as well as Dr. M.C.M. Khalil, who were the Muslim representatives of the State Council then, they believed that they will not support. And there was a demand from G.G. Ponnambalam that there should be a 50-50 divide of this country in power and in territory. Then the British thought that this is not going to get passed at the State Council at that time. The bill will be defeated, so that we will remain Dominion, because we did not engage in a struggle like in India against the British government then. Fortunately, if our former Defense Secretary was there, then he might have struggled against it. Anyhow, so we didn't have a struggle, but communities, Muslims, Tamil leaders, Muslim leaders, Sinhala leaders, all got together for our freedom then, and they fought a war intellectually, and they stood up together. Therefore, in the State Council, all 3 Muslim MPs voted for a Dominion Bill. I urge all the Muslim politicians in the Parliament, the parliamentarians, to vote against this separatist constitution. If we had not voted in 1945 the Dominion Bill, there the country would have been separate, like in Pakistan and India. The Bharatam became Pakistan and India. For British it would have been very easy had we voted along with G.G. Ponnambalam for a 50-50 divide. This country would have been then 2 states. And we have, as patriotic members of the State Council then, have held together with the people with the belief that we are one Sri Lankan people. And I would like to quote the statement that was made by T.B. Jaya then, for the reference of the current Muslim politicians or the parliamentarians. He said this at Zahira College in Colombo, when the Muslim leaders got together along with the peers to discuss the solution. And there, Dr. Makan Maka was rebellious, and he said, just like G.G. Ponnambalam, we also need rights, we also need a fair representation. Fair enough. Then there was an urge to vote against the Dominion Bill, to part with Dr. Ponnambalam so that this country will be into 2 states. There he said this to the fellow people who gathered there. I quote from one Mr. Latif Farooq, who is a renowned journalist, from his article. Let me assure my Sinhalese countrymen that I am one among them, demanding complete freedom for our country. They can count on me as one of the most ardent admirers of their legitimate national and cultural aspiration. In me and my community, let them know that they find the most trusted friends and neighbors in this island. They would never find wanting me to in my community that unflinching loyalty and patriotism that this little island would be demand one day from its sons. That is today. He professed this in 1945. This is what he said. This is to those politicians who are waiting to support the constitution, the minority community politicians, the MPs who are there at the parliament. I would rephrase this. They would never find wanting me or in my community that unflinching loyalty and patriotism that this little island would demand one day from its sons and daughters to carve out a niche of fame for itself, a self-respecting unit in the World Federation. Let me also assure my Sinhalese friends that the brave community to which I belong shall never consider any sacrifice too great to make Lanka a happy, prosperous and glorious country in the world, where not in one section of its population, but every son and daughter of her soil shall legitimately take the pride in her glorious destiny. I am asked to speak in Sinhala, I am asked to speak in English and Tamil, but I will have the permission from the organizers to have a few words in Sinhala so that the audience may understand me. Some of the audience may understand me. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද 1945 රට නිදහස් කරන ඒ පනත පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට යොමු කරපු අවස්ථාවේ එවකට සිටපු මුස්ලිම් නායකයා ඒ සභාවේ മന്ത്രിවරුන් තුන්දෙනෙක් හිටියා. ඒ තුන්දෙනාගේම ඡන්දය අහිමි වෙනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ඡන්දේ නැත්තම් තුනෙන් හතරෙන් තුනක බහුතරයක් නොමැති නම් අපි නිදහස් කිරීමේ පනත එදා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේදී සම්මත වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට සමහර මුස්ලිම් උදවිය ඒ මුස්ලිම් නායකයන්ගෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් කරා ඒ තමයි ඒකට ඡන්දය දෙන්න එපා කියලා. එතකොට මේ මුස්ලිම් නායකයෝ ඒ ජනතාවට කිව්වා අපිට යම් අහිමිවීමක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් නියෝජනත්වයේ. හැබැයි අපිට විශ්වාසයක් තියෙනවා ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ජීවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් නිදහසක් ඇතුව. ඒ නිසා අපි ඒකට ඡන්දය දෙනවා කියලා. ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී ජී.ජී. පොන්නම්බලම් මහත්මයාගේ ඉල්ලීම වුණේ 50ට 50 කියන ඉල්ලීම. ඒ ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මේ රට දෙකඩ කරන්න. එතකොට ඒ ඡන්දයේදී ඒ මුස්ලිම් නායකයන් එක්ව ඡන්දය දුන්නා රට නිදහස් කරගන්න. ඒ නිදහස් අරගලේදී ඒගොල්ලන් එකවන්ව සිටියා සහෝදර සිංහල ජනතාවත් සමග නායකින් සමග. ඒ වගේම අති බහුතරයක් දෙමළ නායකයෝ නිදහස වෙනුවෙන් පෙනී සිටියා ඒ අවස්ථාවේ. සමහර උදවිය ඒකට එකඟ වුණේ නැහැ. ඒ ඡන්දයෙන් පස්සේ බණ්ඩාරනායක මහත්මයා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේදී කතා කරමින් මේ දේ පැවසුවා. I will read this from the quotation from the Hensas of that time. How Bandaranaike spoke. On behalf of the Sinhalese community, I assure that there would be due consideration, reasonable request from the Muslim community. I say that if any member has brought closer to achievement of agreement among the various sections of the people of the country by an attitude and generosity where even those with whom he has concerned to differ, I say with the fullest credit must go to none other than anyone else among us, honorable nominated member, Dr. T.B. Jaya, and this is the speech he made. Therefore, I urge on the Muslim political leadership in the parliament to make this possible, that non-separatism in this country. And that is a duty on you as proud Sri Lankans. And we have had enough in this country, and we know as Muslims, as a Muslim, I live in the south, I studied in Kandy. I know the friendship and the generosity of other communities, both Tamils as well as the Sinhalese. Why should we divide ourselves as Tamil region, Muslim region, Sinhala region, and Sinhala police, Muslim police? Why would we do this? It's not necessary. And what is the problem do we have? Who is trying to create this problem once again? You know that defeating the terrorism in this country and a peaceful coexistence of the nation has given some headache to some people. They want us trouble again. How is the trouble coming? The trans-justice provisions, post-conflict solutions, they are bringing through the constitution. Knowingly or unknowingly, our fellow parliamentarians should not support for this. So that is my call on the politician. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity for speaking. And I would like to make a few words in Tamil very shortly. I know the time is running out. ஆகைய நான் சொல்றது என்னன்னு கேட்டா, இந்த நாட்டில் முஸ்லிம் சிங்கள தமிழ் மக்கள் வந்து சகோதரத்துவத்தோட சுதந்திரமாக சமாதானமான ஒரு சூழ்நிலையில் வாழ்ந்து கொண்டிருக்கிற இந்த நேரத்தில் அரசியல் அமைப்பினூடாக கொண்டு வருகின்ற திருத்தங்கள் மூலமாக நாட்டை பிரிப்பதற்கு ஆன சர்வதேச சக்திகள், அதே போன்று உள்நாட்டில் இந்த நாட்டை பிரிப்பதற்கு ஏதுவாக இருக்கின்ற அரசியல் சக்திகளினூடாக இந்த நாட்டில் பிரிவினைவாதத்தை தூண்டுகின்ற ஒரு சந்தர்ப்பத்தை நாங்கள் அரசியல் அமைப்பு மாற்றத்தினூடாக கண்டு கொண்டிருக்கின்றோம். ஆகவே முஸ்லிம் தமிழ் பாராளுமன்ற உறுப்பினர்கள், அதாவது இந்த நாட்டுக்கு பற்றுள்ள தேசப்பற்றுள்ள பாராளுமன்ற உறுப்பினர்கள் இந்த அரசியல் அமைப்பு மாற்றத்துக்கு எதிராக வாக்களிக்க வேண்டும் என்று நான் மிகவும் கண்டிப்பாக வேண்டிக் கொள்கிறேன். அது எனது கடமை. ஏனென்றால் இந்த நாட்டிலே ஒரு யுத்தம் இருந்த போது, இந்த நாட்டிலே அந்த யுத்தம் தீவிரவாதத்துக்கு எதிராக நடந்த யுத்தத்திலே வெற்றியின் பின்பு சுதந்திரமாக நாங்கள் இன்று நாட்டில் எந்த ஒரு பாகத்துக்கும் போய்விடக்கூடிய ஒரு சந்தர்ப்பம் இருக்கின்றது. உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், 1 லட்சத்துக்கு மேற்பட்ட அகதிகள் வடக்கிலிருந்து ஒரு எத்னிக் கிளென்சிங் மூலமாக வெளியேற்றப்பட்ட சந்தர்ப்பத்திலே அங்கே மூதூரிலே உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், விவசாயிகளுக்கு தண்ணீர் கிடைக்காத போது ஆரம்பித்த இந்த யுத்தத்தின் காரணமாக இன்று முழு நாடும் சுதந்திரம் அடைந்துள்ளது. நாடு பெற்றுள்ள முழு சுதந்திரத்தையும் அரசியல் அமைப்பு மாற்றத்தினூடாக நாட்டுக்குள் இன்னொரு நாட்டை உருவாக்குகின்ற விதத்தில் பிரிவினைவாதத்தின் மூலமாக நாம் தெற்கிலே பெரும்பான்மையாக வாழ்கின்ற முஸ்லிம் தமிழ் சமூகம் அந்த சமாதானத்தை அனுபவித்துக் கொண்டிருக்கின்றவர்கள் என்ற வகையில் நாங்கள் அதனை நாங்கள் விட்டுவிடக் கூடாது. அதாவது இந்த சந்தர்ப்பத்திலே இப்படியான சூழ்நிலைகள் தோன்றுமாக இருந்தால் தென்னிலங்கையில் தோன்றக்கூடிய பிரச்சனைகளுக்கு நாங்கள் அதற்கு காரணமாகிவிடும். ஆகையினால் எனது உரையை சிற்றுரையுடன் முடித்துக் கொள்கின்றேன். நான் ஆங்கிலத்தில் உரையாற்றுகிறது சுருக்கம் அதுதான் என்பதை தெரிவித்துக் கொண்டு, நீங்கள் உங்களது பாராளுமன்ற உறுப்பினர்கள் ஒவ்வொருவரையும் கண்டிப்பாக இந்த அரசியல் அமைப்புக்கு எதிராக வாக்களிக்க நீங்கள் ஊக்குவிக்க வேண்டும். நீங்கள் உங்களது பகுதிகளில் அரசியல் அமைப்பு மாற்றத்துக்கு எதிராக, பிரிவினைவாத அரசியல் அமைப்புக்கு மாற்றத்துக்கு எதிராக நீங்கள் கோஷம் எழுப்ப வேண்டும் என்பது உங்களது கடமை என்பதை கூறிக்கொண்டு எனது உரையை முடித்துக் கொள்கின்றேன். நன்றி, வசலாம்.